What's up, YouTube? I'm on my lunch break in my scrubs. Haven't made a video in a long time, been sick as a dog. Got some collabs coming out hopefully soon when I can. But I just, I bought a house and I've been working overtime, and there is just not a good time to record a nice professional video where we're at the computer and the camera's still, and we can add images into it and all of that. So I haven't really had a chance to do anything, so I figured I'd pop in and let you guys know what's going on. So we got a Midnight Tides collaboration coming up pretty soon with another booktuber. And I have a discussion of Deadhouse Gates Chapter 2, Scene 1 coming out soon. And I also have a discussion of The Builders by Daniel Polanski, I believe is the author's name, coming out with another booktuber as well. I have some solo projects planned if I ever get the time and the energy and the all of it to do that. And maybe get some nonfiction stuff going on as well. So hopefully we'll see some of that soon. And really, the reason I turned on the camera right now was not to tell you any of that channel news, but was to talk a little bit about the Wheel of Time. So from here on out, I just want to just warn everybody, this is spoilers for the first 4 episodes of The Wheel of Time. And let's get into just a little bit of my initial impressions. This is totally off the cuff of episode 4 of The Wheel of Time. So I loved episode 4. It was better than the previous 3 episodes. I really like that they're actually making Logain a real, somewhat fleshed out character sooner than they did in the book series, which works a lot better for the big screen than, having him appear in one scene and then become a character like 3 or 4 or 5 books later whenever, his character really takes off in the books. And I just think that was probably a good choice with regard to Logain. I have noticed that a lot of viewers of the show that I've spoken to in my personal time, or that I watched the show with, have a very different view of Logain's character. And some of that, I thought might have been, book readers versus, just show watchers. So I watched the show with my wife and my 8-year-old daughter. I'm not sure how my wife felt about Logain, but I felt so much compassion and so much sympathy for Logain, and my heart was just bleeding for him. I felt so bad for him in that 4th episode. And my 8-year-old daughter, understandably, because she has the, morality of a kid, she she viewed him as like, oh, he's a bad guy and he's killing people, so we don't like him. And, and I tried to convince her, like, oh, well, that's just because you've been following these other characters for, such and such an amount of time, but you haven't been following him for that long, and blah, blah, blah. And she wasn't buying it. So I talked to some of my other friends about it to see, like, what do you guys think about Logain? And interestingly, I had 2 non-book readers, and they both had, the first one had said she was completely ambivalent and wasn't given enough of a reason to care about him, or about, like, sort of some of the injustice that's going on, that his character wasn't developed enough for that connection of empathy or antipathy even to be there. And then the other person I talked to, went on this long rant about how upsetting it was and how sad they were for Logain. And I think, some of that may come down to how, despite the fact that episode 4 has slowed down a little bit from the frenetic pacing of the first 3 episodes, it's still pretty fast-paced. They're still moving things along at a pretty fast, just that at da 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 da. And maybe for some viewers, that's just not there's just not enough breathing room for them to get comfortable with a character, especially one that was just introduced in that episode. I don't know. Or maybe some people are, want more like info and dialogue with the character versus like a lot of my compassion for looking came from visual cues, as well as, what people were saying. So there's that. I don't know. But I thought that was really interesting that different people have viewed Logain differently. Some book readers, some non-book readers, and so on. And then I really love what they've been doing with Tom Maryland. He's not as overtly or outwardly goofy as he was in the books. Like I know in the books he's kind of a total badass, like spy master, court bard type. But he has sort of this jovial and easygoing appearance and manner sort of laid over that a lot of the time. And then sort of like his ruggedness and his dourness and his world weariness kind of comes out more, in private or when the situation calls for, or when push comes to shove, and so on and so forth. And really, they did not go that way at all with him. He's not doing all the juggling and the fire breathing and the this and the that. He's like got this like dour personality. He's got this Tom Waits quality to the one song we've heard him sing so far. It was a very sort of down note song. And let me turn my radio down. Sorry you've been hearing that this whole time. Didn't even think about it. And Tom is just more just like on the surface a badass in The Wheel of Time. And I think with the actor they chose and with the visual medium, it works a lot better than trying to have like the cloak be like super, super bright. I know he still has the multicolored cloak, but it's like more subdued. And it works for what they're doing. I don't know if they're still going to have him have like the same backstory that he had in the books, which was really cool and gives his character quite a bit of like depth and more than meets the eye and those kind of things, and sort of explains why he's such a badass. So I hope they do some of that. That would be exciting. But I really like where they're going with Tom. The scene with Matt and the farmhouse and the Fade, that freaked me out at first, because I thought that Matt, I know that we're all supposed to think it, I know we all thought it, but for a second I thought that Matt killed all those people, and I was like, whoa, they're going way dark with this curse thing. Holy shit. I did not expect that. And then the Fade appears, and I was just like, this is perfect. Holy shit, the Fade's scary. The scene with Matt, or with Tom, facing off against the Fade while the boys run away is put in there instead of at Whitebridge. And I think that really works here. I don't know if we're even going to see Whitebridge or not in the first season, but this certainly sort of eclipses and compresses a lot of the moments with Tom and Matt and Rand that we got in the first book into like a few short scenes, and the impact isn't lost. So I think that was really well done. And I'm just really enjoying the show. Other than that, we've taken a break on the podcast, so I haven't read much of the Bone Hunters yet. And I've just been mostly reading audiobooks and not doing too much for BookTube for podcasts. I'm playing lots of Diablo 2. Maybe I'll put out a Diablo 2 video at some point. I don't know if anybody would be interested in that, but that's an idea I've been toying with. So we'll see. But this is Dark Portents, just checking in with some channel news, some off-the-cuff Wheel of Time thoughts, and letting you know that I will be back eventually. Once maybe the overtime dies down and I'm not sick and all of that. So, peace, YouTube.